Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Supercar Stories, the Fast Business Podcast. We've got Mark Rolton with us today, Massland property entrepreneur, supercar fanatic. We've got his Ferrari F8 in the background. It is an F8, eh?
I think so.
Yeah. Don't know, my PA bought it. I don't really know.
I know where the petrol goes. Don't ask me anything about cars.
So yeah, do you want to give us a bit of a background, Mark, on the business? The Fast Business Podcast is all about how you sort of got in the driver's seat of the car, and more of a long form story in terms of your career path and some of your passions and what led you to the steering wheel, pretty much. So do you want to sort of rewind us back and start at the beginning?
Yeah, sure. So behind the wheel, well, I've always believed in sort of having a bit of a plan, having a very sort of set out, I suppose, deliberate and well articulated plan. So cars have always inspired me.
Yeah.
I think that we all operate very well, when we're inspired by the carrot. And a lot of people just don't seem to achieve because they just don't put out a plan, or they're too scared, I think. They don't get clarity on what they want. So for me, from a very young age, I remember doing the building thing. I was a builder. I left school at grade 10, 16, jumped in to become a chippy, then a builder and stuff like that. And from a very early age, it was like, I want to go somewhere, I want to do something, but how do I go about that? So I decided to sort of have a goal of buying myself a Porsche 911.
Yeah, nice.
So back in the day, and it just sort of spiraled from there, So I've bought that. I think I wrote that off.
All right.
It didn't last very long.
I need the
In all
inside scoop on
seriousness,
that.
it was about 12 days. From the showroom to the graveyard.
I'm sure your insurance company was happy about that.
Oh, let's not talk about that. But I think they still think the car exists. But yeah, so from that earlier age, mate, it sort of just blossomed from there. I became a bit of a fan of Porsches, and I bought another one obviously after that. But then, with that idea that I'll get more from myself if I feel like I'm driven. So that's parlayed into boats. It's parlayed. I recently bought a new car, one that doesn't even go on the road. I just bought a helicopter, which I'm pretty stoked about. I love that. And that's, again, same thing. Just what do I want? Who do I need to be? And just go fucking chase it. Can I swear?
Yeah,
sure.
you can. Yeah,
Right, sorry.
just as long as it doesn't
Too
start
late,
with
you
C,
did.
it's fine.
A little bit correct, and they're the sort of things that I've always, found that works well for me. And I think we've all got to understand, what pushes our buttons. Some people are just mad travellers. There's people out there called foodies,
Yeah,
Just for me,
yeah.
It was always just about having a very, very clear executed plan. So that's how that one became.
Yeah. And was there any sort of like specific failures along the way? Things that sort of fell on their face, like
Plenty.
yeah.
Plenty.
Got any stories there?
Oh, look,
Just go a little bit closer to the mic there too. Right?
don't like things in my mouth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
me either.
Not going
That's
there.
what you say. There's plenty of failures, man. I mean, Jesus, where do you start? School was a failure for me.
Yeah, right.
Like, seriously, I did not relate to school. I'd be sitting in the classroom, looking at him, looking at her, thinking, where does this relate to life? I just don't get it.
Yep.
Mm.
Sorry
I
to
don't know about
interrupt, but
geology.
Were you on the school on the Gold Coast here?
No, mate, no, in Brisbane. So I grew up in Logan, Woodridge.
Yeah, right.
So, you'd look at the blackboard and go, where does this apply in life? Like, where do I learn the stuff that's going to get me ahead? And you just didn't have that. So there was no connection for me. So school was a failure.
Yeah.
And I walked out of there with just nothing but C's and D's. And, old man let me know it. So that was the beginning of failure. First business enterprises, they were all failures. I remember being a builder. I was actually a pretty good builder.
Yeah,
but you
right.
didn't make much money being a builder.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm competent and I've got integrity, so I'll do the right thing by the client. But there's not enough money in this.
No.
And the more I looked around, you didn't see anyone that was 50, 60 years old in good order and loving life.
No.
They were broken, man. They were 40 and their backs were shot. They were really struggling to pay the bills.
Yeah.
They were miserable.
And they're smoking rollies and eating pies on lunch and
Hanging off the scaffold.
yeah.
And then blaming the world for it, So
So you got into a high building gig in your early 20s as well, hey? Were you
yeah, I started.
certified builder then, or
Yeah, so I left school, became a chippy builder. Then I went off to night school at TAFE on the coast here, and then became a project manager and got into high rise. And that's where I sort of found a bit of money, a bit of a groove, got some rhythm. then sort of employed, quite a few people and made some decent money. But it was just hard work, And I thought, what I'll do is I'll go back to uni. I can reset my year 12 exit score, go to uni, become an engineer. That's a good idea. And that was sort of like, I should be able to make some decent coin.
Yeah.
And I did okay, got a good OP, went to uni, but then hated that too. Then I sort of found myself, I got ripped off. So that's sort of how serendipitous it was. A guy sort of was in my building business and it was going really well. And then he just decided just to vacuum all the money out. He did it a very, very clever way. It was just really hard to prove. So I owed the ATO 400. I owed the ATO 231 grand. I had 200 grand worth of creditors.
Yeah, wow.
I was 23, man. I was 23.
That's heavy,
Do the math. You buy a house back then for 150 grand.
Yeah,
I was 431 below zero.
That's like 2 million in the hole these days.
Yeah.
The shit was scary. And the ATO, they had this interest bill that was accruing daily. You could just see it was racking up, man. So I'm cleaning windows.
And they're going, yeah, it's fine if you don't pay. Just let it keep going.
That's right, So here I am cleaning windows, barely making a living, trying to etch out a living, and then just sort of found my way into property. I thought, I'm going to get into real estate because if you're going to do something, you want to get the greatest yield per hour. I didn't know a lot of people in that world, but I thought, I see these developers I used to work for as a project manager. I think, he's driving a BMW today, and next week he's driving something else, and it's a Mercedes the following week. I'm like, I've got to get into that space, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't have any money. So then I just sort of started hunting around for some deals, and I thought, if I can assemble something that's got profit in it, someone's going to want it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's sort of how it came about. I met a guy at a barbecue, and he was a financial planner, and he's like, I've got all these clients. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, I can't find any bloody property to sell them. I went, really? And then,
what do they want to buy?
Yeah, that's right. I did. It was literally like that. And then a guy rings me about a week and a half later, and he was a developer, and he was about to go under. He was in big trouble. He had debt everywhere, projects all over the place. It was really erratic in the way he did things. So I just said, look, I've got some blocks of land. And he said, well, give them to me. I said, well, you got to look after me first. So, mate, we did a little deal, and it made me 42 grand in a day.
Yeah, wow.
And that's when that was real money back then. People used to work a whole year for 40.
Yeah.
Things are different today. And I was like, fuck, what else can I do? So I put together some deals, and I made just over $1 million in 34 days. $1,066,000, and that was cash.
Yeah.
A house was 150, man. It was $1,066,000 cash check to me.
And it's just it was on selling the contract. You never touched the property or hold the money or anything.
I didn't have any money. Right? I went to the ATO, right? So here I am. I've got $1 million. I'm like, holy shit, wow. And then it just sort of spiraled from there.
Yeah,
Just got better and better understanding the town plan, and and then sort of I think that entrepreneurial flair became a bit more of me. I'd sit with the council and say, listen, it says that, but what if I did this? Oh, maybe. So you always be sort of like looking to sort of do something outside of the square.
Yeah,
I got into aged care, and we got into retail, we got into I owned a whole stack of auto barns. I had the property, I owned the shop, but I had the assets. And it just sort of spiraled. I'd just go around and target tennis courts because I figured someone's not making money if they're paying $20 an hour to play tennis. It's not the highest and best use of that asset, but it's right next door to a veterinary surgery or something. Be like, it's already zone commercial, so I just go and option these tennis courts all over Australia, and start flogging them off as townhouse sites or multi-story sites. And shit like that. And it just took off, man. It really took off. There was some serious money changing hands, and I had to go find somewhere to burn it all. So,
so you went to Ferrari. You burn it quick there.
You'll burn it faster in the marine industry. They're cheap, man. Boats are expensive.
So, what's the story behind the helicopter? You just got this, hey?
Yeah. Look, it's actually been delivered in about 2 weeks. It's I'm a bit bored, mate. I've got a midlife crisis going on.
Perfect. That's
I'm divorced.
Well, you're going in the right industry to send it down the spiral.
That's right.
If it flies
Good
or
way to
floats,
shred,
you
mate.
shouldn't be buying it, right?
It's a saying, that, right?
Yeah,
Flies or floats.
And there's another F that goes on the back of that as well, but I probably shouldn't say it.
No, you wouldn't. I would. But, so look, and I think there's just a bit of boredom, so I'm just going to, I'm in the process now of studying my helicopter license. I'm probably about, I don't know, maybe 30% through that. I've got some exams to sit in 5 weeks.
Are you doing a PPL on it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it's pretty hard. I won't lie, it's pretty hard. Man, those pilots are smart people. So, and I really enjoy that.
Don't give Matt too much credit.
Yeah. My CPL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Chopper or fixed wing?
Fixed wing.
Oh, yeah, that's a piece of piss, man. Sorry.
You and I are going to go for a flight up.
If you're brave enough to sit in the seat beside me, man, you knock yourself out. But a lot of people say to me, there's no fucking chance I'm getting a machine with you. Boost my confidence. So look, I think it's just one of those things, just to fill in some time. And yeah, I think, I'll always be in projects. I do enjoy investing. I love the mechanics of making money. I love the science. I love the art of making money. I enjoy that. I enjoy that chase, that pursuit.
Yep.
So I think the choppers, mate, probably just something in there. It's just a little bit of a distraction.
A reward, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, personal reward. That's a good way to look at it.
What type of chopper is it?
It's an R44.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good machine. Beautiful machine. So no traffic for me anymore.
Where can you land it? Can you go to Brizzy and Gold Coast on it, or?
Depends who's asking.
Anywhere you want.
Bit like your Polaris.
That's right.
Yeah.
The rules.
It's hard to get pulled up there, eh?
It is, man. They wait for you on the ground, though, I've been told.
Yeah, right.
No, mate, just wherever you want to, just that sort of freedom and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you got a place to store it yet? Or?
Yeah, it's got a hanger,
Yeah, nice.
On the roof.
At his house.
I'm trying to work out how to
Yeah,
get
your
the
front
fuck
yard's
out.
big enough. You can just leave it there.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The cables of the power lines are really close. But I'll work it out.
Yeah. Grant Cardone talks about the advantages of air travel a lot because his organisation and himself as a brand is big enough where, for him to save 6 hours, it's ROI positive to own a jet.
That's right.
That's crazy, eh?
Well, yeah. Not really. You think about your time.
Well, it's not
what's that
crazy, but
worth?
it's like it's a lot of people wouldn't understand that.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
There's logic to it. If it takes you 6 hours to get to an asset, in the West, and I can get there in 55 minutes
Yeah.
and have half the day to make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's justifiable.
Yeah.
It becomes
and if you're the first one there to a deal
That's possible.
and you close the deal,
No one's going to beat you and I on that chopper, man.
Best in, best dressed.
That's so true. So true.
Yeah, right. So what?
else you got?
So you started out as a builder. Went and did some project work, and then your business partner screwed you over there. And then how did you sort of get into Massland, like a bit further down the line there when
That's sort of
you started seeing the real success? You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I mean, the machine was alive and well before Massland ever came along.
Yeah, right.
It was thriving. The challenge I had was I couldn't keep up with the speed, the pace. I had so many buyers, and you don't need that many buyers when you think about it. 2-3 deals a year, you can make $500,000 out of each. But there was buyers everywhere, and it was more about finding the asset, more about finding the opportunities.
Yeah.
And then I was living in the States at the time, and I bumped into an Aussie guy at one of the hotels, and just heard his accent. We just got talking, and he said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, trade property back in Aussie." And he was a smart cat. Like, he was a really brainy guy. He's in the medico world. And he just read a lot, like he just read shit all the time. Be at the hotel, be hanging out, and he'd read 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if I make $100,000 a day, I'm pretty happy. And I thought he was full of shit. And then I realised, no, he's actually the real deal. And he was patenting certain medico products and making a bomb out of this shit, So
Yeah. Wow.
So I bumped
Like
into
devices,
him. Yeah,
physical medical
Stents,
devices,
all that sort of shit.
wow.
He'd work out a faster way. He didn't have the tech, but he'd go find the tech and then package it up and flog it. And he had this education business in Australia, and he goes, mate, some people want to learn how to make money, so I've just got this thing going. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And he goes, come and speak. I said, no, man, it's not my gig. I don't do that shit,
Yeah.
And he said, nah, you're being fucking selfish. He goes, how many people do you think would actually be inspired or learn from where you started? And I thought, you cheeky bastard, So came back to Aussie, and he said, I've got this thing on. Come along and just tell your story. Mate, I walked out. I fucking froze. It was 700 people.
Oh wow, he's just
And
stitched
I
you
wear a
up.
pair of jeans and a t-shirt. You're on. I literally walked out. And I went, wow. I stood in front of 700 people, man. I just shut down. I went red.
Yeah, right.
It was really
Full
embarrassing.
panic attacks. And
Totally,
everything.
mate.
Sweaty palms.
I was in hyperspeed. So, yeah, and then it was such a joke. But anyway, I just started telling people how it sort of worked, and they started asking questions and stuff. And at the back of the room, he's standing there saying, he's going to teach you how to do it. And we're going to teach you, we'll teach you how to do it. We're going to charge you for it. I'm looking at him, I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And he just goes, listen, there's something in this. You should actually think about this. So, mate, we took a ton of these deposits one day, and then I just started teaching people what I did. And then the The synergy was that they could bring me deals though. And that was the weakness in the machine. Like it was fucking firing. We had shit going everywhere. We had Stockland on the phone. We had MAB Corp on the phone. It was mad.
Yeah, wow.
Get us some stuff, option it. We don't want to pay for it. Get us stuff with a development approval, or not with a development approval. And they were very specific, but I just didn't have I hadn't worked out the machination to get the scale. And that's where education fitted in. It was like, right. And it was just a home run, man. You know, you don't make any money education, but the deal flow that we got was extraordinary. It was every corner of Australia, man. It was New Zealand. We were just bringing it. And the big boys started to take notice. Then Aldi got on board. Aldi came to Australia and it was just like, it just took off from there.
Aldi?
Yeah, Aldi's had entered Australia at that point. And we were just smashing shit together. Woolies were onto it.
Wow.
So the education thing took off because people were making money. It was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I can use your capital.
Yeah.
So I was funding the DA approval at that point. They had nothing in.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It's similar. It resonates a lot with and it's very topical at the moment. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Andrew Tate business model where you know he's created this online personality that's super viral, and then he brings people into his Hustlers University and then teaches them how to make money affiliate selling, and then says, "Oh, well, while you're here, you can affiliate sell my program," and then they go and affiliate sell his program.
Right.
And then that's pulling in more money into his business.
There you go.
But it sounds very, very similar how, like, you know, the education is the
draw card.
The draw card and like the thing that's enabling the scale. It's not like the money maker, but the deal flow is the money maker.
That's the secret in the room is the deal flow that we had at that point was quite extraordinary. So that gave us the capacity to sort of really move fast.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're flicking stuff at, you know, $500,000 a mil, 1.2 here, 1.6 there. It doesn't take too long to click up.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Get 10 of those in a year and you've like 10x your income.
Well, mate, there was years that we were smashing out 60, 70 deals in a year.
Yeah, wow.
And then we were building 250, 400 keys on the side, developing of our own projects.
Wow.
So are you finding that any of the construction prices or any of that type of stuff is impacting?
Now? Oh, sure. But the market's there to support it.
True.
It won't slow down.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, there was some years in there, man, where it was a few years in there. It was about 180, 190 days a year of travel. I was on the road.
What, just going to deals, seeing properties and that?
It was projects in southern Perth and northern Melbourne. It was every reach of the country.
Makes sense to have a chopper.
That's the whole reason.
But it was nuts. So, you know, and that's sort of where it took off. That's where the education was really sort of I suppose the turbo to all that.
Yeah, right. So the education thing started off like as, you know, you were helping someone out and doing some guest speaking at their seminar, and then you were like, "Holy shit, this is go up!" Like,
yeah, well, as I said, just deal flow. The bottom line was I didn't know how to get better scale. And I was employing people, but they would end up being my competition.
Yeah.
You teach them, you train them for 6-7 months, and they piss off. It happened to me 3 times.
Yeah.
And these are really strategic people that know your IP. They're in there. They understand it. And one of them even tried to rip off my database. It's like, mate, don't go playing that game, you know?
Yeah.
But with clients that were coming through the door that wanted to learn, it's like, okay, well, I can give you so much. The database you don't get, you know, but I'll give you the technique. I'll show you the magic sauce. And that sort of took off, you know. So if they become our competition, it doesn't really matter anymore. So we have enough scale now. So
and then you're also making the process very frictionless for them because they find the deal and then you automatically enable the sale and bang bang.
I'm a money partner, man. They just got no idea. I can't put this together. I can't afford $400,000 for development approval. It's just impossible. But this guy's got some coin and he's got the contacts to sell it. Okay, let's do it. So it makes sense. You're right, frictionless. It's just sort of seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, I actually went to one of your events probably.
You poor bastard.
No, it was.
And you still listen to my voice, man.
Yeah. No, it was really interesting. I actually learned a lot.
Yeah.
And applied a lot of that to my own portfolio.
Really?
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you know, everything that you did say on the day. You know, it's certainly opens your eyes up to you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, there is. Look, I've even seen people, you know, finish our program and then go out and option businesses. I didn't even think of that. Like I saw 2 brothers once that optioned this business and fuck, it was clever. and the current owner had to hit some KPIs, and they check out, and they just flogged it. They stood in between, just took a huge chunk of cash.
Yeah, wow.
With the agricultural space,
And
it
like
was so clever.
Yeah.
And that's all just like, it's all kosher, eh? Because I know that a lot of that, the optioning happens in the US. A lot of people talk about, there's a lot of guys with huge followings online and stuff that do the option sales, like TTB and some other guys like that. But like, never really, like, you're the only sort of one that I've sort of seen around that gets involved in that sort of stuff in Australia, eh? Like,
it makes sense, but you know what? It's so much easier here. There's 52 statutes. There's 52 states in America. There's 52 different laws. There's 52 different types of documents.
yeah, right.
It's just a nightmare. You come here and it's like one shirt fits all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it was a lay down misère from the beginning.
So every single state in Australia follows the same REIQ, real estate contracts, laws, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very well structured, regimented industry, very well regulated, unlike the US. So it makes so much sense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the US operates almost like individual countries.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
It really is. So,
I think we're all just car people.
yeah.
You know, and in business, and we're actually in business together now.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how this sort of happened. And,
And this is getting good traction?
very.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
definitely
people
a niche.
resonate with it.
I agree.
And
You got to keep it real.
Yeah.
that's it.
Keep it real, man.
Yeah.
Keep it authentic. And I think you'll always have those people that want to listen in, plug in, follow, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we don't say no to like swearing and
Yeah.
you know, like you be you. You're like that's
Yeah,
what
that's
people want to see. You know,
Day-to-day
Hungover and all.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hungover.
tell us that story.
Oh, dude. It just started as an innocent bottle of cognac.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, does that work in one
It was a
sentence?
phone call last night about the longest dirt bike race in the world, and that sort of triggered off a conversation. Then I had a mate of mine popped around, and this morning it was a whole bottle of cognac gone. So I'm feeling a little bit cooked.
Yeah. Woke up and thought, oh, did we finish that?
So, but you have competed in that race, the longest off-road race in Australia.
Yeah.
And Mark's had a crack on a motorbike.
It was good fun. As an amateur, you can just get with the big boys, you know. But there's something like about 1,200 competitors, 1,300 competitors. It's wild.
Yep.
What did you? What did
They're
you
all just holding off the back, man. It's incredible
Well,
to watch. I was riding a Husky back then. Yeah, 510 Husky. So I came 202nd. So that wasn't bad.
That's impressive.
That's
It's
not
a
bad.
pretty decent campaign for your
Yeah.
first outing.
But just to finish it,
But, man,
because like
it's-
physically, it's a
It's grueling, man. 1198 Ducati. You didn't know that? Really nice machine, you know. They're very fast. It's got this new function now where it doesn't do wheelies. It has full traction control.
kidding.
So it doesn't even use a clutch.
Wow.
Really.
You use the clutch in first gear. It's a dog clutch for the rest. And it has this air-powered device that changes the gears.
No way.
It sounds like an F-111, dude. Like
That's
a
cool.
plane.
And you can hold it
Like a
all
dual clutch.
noise.
All on, man. It's just all on. I'm down the back highway. It's fantastic.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
cool.
Really user-friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
wow.
lot of speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds dangerous.
Very dangerous. It's good for frustration. I got home the other day and my little girl was just being a nightmare. Got home and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get on the bike.
Yeah.
The housekeeper was like, you all right? I said, yeah. She goes, where you going? I said, I don't know. I got the back highway and came home very, very different. You know, it's very, very calm and chilled. But, you know, kids can be a handful.
Yeah.
It's just nice to get away sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what does it for you? Like motorsport, driving something to escape the business side?
That's a great question. Yes, I would say that, yes. I would agree. There's definitely there's a solitude.
Yeah. I think being at one with whatever it is you're driving, riding,
Yes,
and not having anybody else
yes,
in your ear,
yes,
nothing to worry about.
yes,
Because you've got a lot of stuff going on.
yeah.
And
I think anything with motion, I've sort of found it seems to work well. And boats fit in that category as well.
yeah.
If I'm moving for some reason,
Yeah.
I seem to be happiest.
Just want to be making progress all the time. You got to
Yeah.
be going
Is that
fast.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going at 100.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Or I'm throwing some serious diesel out the back, you know?
So have you got a boat or a ski or something?
No,
along those
I'm
lines?
actually I've just recently sold mine and I'm upgrading, yeah.
Nice.
Looking around at the moment. A few conversations out of Hong Kong and there's some okay buys, but at the moment it's very tight. COVID sort of brought a whole new focus to people's leisure and how they spend it.
Yep.
Boat builds now 4.5 years out for a new one.
Crazy.
So it's really changed the whole second-hand market. So I think, a lot of the owners, vendors are wanting huge money for stuff that's B grade. So yeah, I've got a few inquiries and it won't be terribly long, sort of March, May. and we'll have, I think we'll have what we want.
Yep.
But the European season's coming to an end, and that's where sort of a lot of people unload. And I think the way the world economy is going to be, I don't think it's going to be terribly bright.
Yep.
So there'll be a lot of opportunity, I think, in the coming years.
Absolutely. I think we're already starting to see that on a little bit of a smaller scale as well.
Yeah.
But,
There's a lot more project cars and toys up for sale. And
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noticed it big time.
Really?
Yeah, starting to buy a couple up and
Okay.
just getting cashed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Do you think the property market will be the same?
Oh, yeah. My word, yeah.
You reckon you will see a big crash in the property market? Or?
It's a great question. Who's
not.
asking? Just thinking about the audience. Is there going to be a crash? I don't think. It's not going to be Armageddon. The federal government has spent far too much money.
Won't be 2008 sort of stuff.
Nah, we're $1 trillion in. We're $1 trillion in. You divide that among 26.4 million heads, that's not a good sum. So the adverse effect of spending that kind of money is you've got to get it back. And they'll get it back, but they're not going to see it crash. It's not going to derail.
Yeah.
So is there going to be some losses? Yes. Is there going to be high interest rates? I do believe so. It's not unfathomable to think that, we can go from a 4% environment to 6.5%.
Yeah, that's not that far.
It'll crucify a lot of people. But in that too, there's opportunity as well. And people shouldn't overextend. I'm all about risk, but calculated risk. It's got to be measured. There's one thing I can probably say hand on heart, I've become a very good analyst of risk. When you've got money, and I think that you realise very quickly that it's hard. It's not easy.
No.
So you become very, very finite. You become very, very cautious.
Yeah, calculated.
As you become further progressed. So do I think there's going to be a correction? Yes. Is it more evident in Australia than anywhere else in the world? Most likely.
Yeah.
You're talking 116% GDP to debt. That ain't pretty. There's only one country that's got more debt than us, and that's Japan. And they've had that for 3 decades, and look at their economy. It's up to shit. So we're in a really tight corner right now. And I don't know the government in power has got all the credentials to steer us out of that. It's going to be hard to navigate.
Yeah, it's scary
Real
times, yeah.
So,
but there's opportunities at either end, Like we had our we had a guest in here yesterday who had a very interesting story about setting up a hospitality company right in the pits of COVID.
wow.
And he took the opportunity to secure extremely long-term leases at extremely good prices with extremely good terms and set up hospitality businesses, and the success that they've had in the last 4 years is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's also like, it's not doom and gloom,
It's not, man.
Sometimes this is good,
It's a double-edged sword, but a lot of people don't like hearing that story. They sort of feel like you're a capitalist at large. You're a renegade with a wallet.
Yeah.
They don't like that story,
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, you are right. And I think there'll be some pain.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity, man. Like I can't believe that we haven't seen anyone in the recruitment space. Why aren't we bringing in hundreds of thousands of workers overseas? We're desperate. Unemployment's 3%, and there's all these opportunities. Like, why wouldn't you go into recruitment right now? Go into food security, go into food supply right now. Like, there's just so much that's available to you.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it wasn't like that. It was dog eat dog. It was a competitive world. It was a competitive environment, this place called Australia. But now, there's just so many changes. There's so many things going on right now.
There's a lot. Every industry is upset.
Mate,
It's
and that's where you make money.
yeah.
It's never sideways. It's either up, down, peak, or trough. That's where the biggest gains are made.
I thought it was really ballsy of Matt that you're talking about that did that.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me that would be a thing to consider.
Yes.
Signing up to a lease for in an industry that is at the time was like dead.
It was it was like burning to the ground.
That's right.
Like how ballsy, but that's a risk versus reward. He could see that in 12, 24 months it was going to flip and he was going to be on top.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think too many people are focused on the now and
That's
not 2, 3, 4 years down the road.
And I do believe entrepreneurs are visionaries.
Yeah.
You had enough scope, enough intelligence to have a vision for the future, and that's when you profit.
Yep.
It's well managed.
That's all, and he put himself in a position where even if he took a lease and decided, we don't really want to do a hospitality business there, we don't have the capital, or there's issues or whatever.
Yeah.
He's almost in an option position where I've got this lease so cheap that I can just sublease it, and someone else can deal with all that shit.
Yeah,
and I
that's
just
so true.
make a little bit of money and get out of the commitment.
Yeah, that's right. There's so many ways of making money. That's what's so beautiful about it, isn't it? There's so many ways you can cut the fabric. You have to just do it one way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I had a guy come down to my house the other day, and he's a young guy, like he's smart, but I just sort of said to him, man, there's so many ways you've got to find your groove. So that, you're obviously intelligent, you've done okay, and this guy goes around installing like seriously beefy, robust internet services, like hectic sort of stuff, like pulling down megs per second, That's his thing, it's his bag. I said, man, you just got to find a way of making that money work for you, exercise that capital in a way that suits you. He's like, yeah, like you just got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
And it won't be going and buying a house like mum and dad. Probably not. If I had my time again, I'd go into tech.
Really?
I would. You know, one of the things I found, one of the hardest things of my career has been HR.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's a nightmare.
Yep.
It's a nightmare. And you live in a country where people deserve to get paid just to show up, not based on effectiveness.
Yeah.
Just give me money to be here.
Yeah.
Do you want to do something? Not really.
Yeah.
So that's one of my biggest pitfalls.
Yep.
We used to have a stupid head.
And if you call me out on doing nothing, you're going to jail.
We'll call my union representative, right?
Yeah.
We used to have a stupid head count years ago, with projects all over the place. And it was just nuts. If I had my time again, I'd probably go into tech or something like that, or IT. And just have zero head count, but just be someone that knew how to work the system and make money, good money,
Absolutely.
but just no head count.
Yeah.
A mate of mine is just in the throes of selling a business now. 1,200 employees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said,
it's
how
crazy.
many lawsuits you got? He goes, about four on the go at the
You're
moment.
kidding. Yeah.
Currently, like
Probably got in-house legal and everything, eh?
it's a huge machine, man. And he's chairman. He's
Yeah.
fucking chairman. I'm
Yeah.
like,
He's
take that title,
scapegoat.
man.
Yeah.
1,200 people.
It's a
That's
baby.
1,200 headaches.
Babysitting.
Yeah, it is. And not being disrespectful, but as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, it's not a good thing. It's not a good measure of your success. Is a head count.
True.
Absolutely.
Have you got any projects going on at the moment other than your real estate?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got angel investments. I've got stuff with protein meal. Yeah, you mean you're talking about debentures. I mean, I've done some reverse mergers and stuff with a few solicitors around the place.
Yep.
Yeah, right. With the protein meal, is that a launched product or?
No. There's a young girl that I know. She's a really brainy one too. She's really bright, and she approached me a little while ago about some capital, and it's just insects for protein meal.
Yeah.
And you feed the protein meal to the fish. You feed it to the cattle, whatever it might be. But really clever, like vertical farming. And we're talking. I think it's about 4 or 5 ton a week now.
Wow.
Which is not too bad, but almost zero cost. Like it's nuts.
Yeah.
The insects just thrive, and that's the protein meal. So there's a lot of different things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to manufactured home parks as well.
What do you? Sorry, say.
Manufactured home parks are like trailer trash in America.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
You got me. And it works well. Like they're just. I've got quite a few interests in those sort of things as well.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so I'll chuck one at you. There's a new hydro.
So
there's a hydro plant getting built in Gladstone.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I might buy a 4 or 6 unit block there, and then
just open financial advice. I'm going to get a call from ASIC now. No FSL, and you're giving him advice
live advice. Yeah, do I sign on the dotted line? Nah, but that's
Yeah, I was just reading about that yesterday.
Yeah,
that
opportunities there. You reckon?
Great entrepreneur. Like, look at Andrew Forrest. He's an amazing guy. They're saying that they'll be taking revenues from hydrogen within the next 3 years. You've got a capacity already for 15 million tons of hydrogen.
Yeah.
So and Australia's leading the way. It's him. So I mean, entrepreneurs, they're pretty amazing people when you think about what they can do. They pull off.
Yeah, 100%.
And
people get like
We're the first plant. Will be Gladstone, first plant in the world that can make hydrogen commercially viable. It's in their backyard.
Yeah, that's a feat, hey. That changes the energy infrastructure globally forever.
It does, man. It really does. And what's the byproduct? Water vapor and O2.
Yeah, big deal.
So how's that for pollution? Water and oxygen. Awesome, right? We need both. We need a lot of both of those.
Yeah, we've got a water
resources.
shortage at the moment. So
And oxygen, man. The trees aren't growing back fast enough. So yes, mate. So Gladstone, I don't know, man. You'll have to make up your own mind on that.
yeah. I think I know the answer there.
We call that deflect.
Funny how you say that like entrepreneurs are visionaries and that they do so much for the greater good and to advance society, but so many people don't see that.
No.
And they look at these people and go,
Yep.
they're wealth hoarders
Yep.
and they're
Yep.
they're accumulating more than they should, and
Yep.
blah, 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 blah,
Yep.
blah. And it's like, you know, it's just funny that dissonance between the two mindsets, you know?
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Yeah, good observation. You're right.
Yeah. What's your take on it? Like, how do you think people who have the mindset of like, oh, Elon Musk is just a wealth hoarder, or like, you know, things like that, how they could maybe understand a little deeper? And
I think it's a reflection of who they are. There's some psychoanalysis that probably needs to take place, because I think that that's really short-sighted. You know, if you and I can continue to forge ahead and take mankind in a certain angle, a direction that benefits us all, is Andrew Forrest a wealth hoarder by making O2 and fucking oxygen? Is that what we want to do? We want to give him a criminal label and call him a fucking hoarder? To me, you know, that's a very unique individual. What a human being.
yeah, exactly.
To have that kind of money and spend half his life on a jet going around the world trying to make the place better. You know, engaging with governments, all forms of bureaucracy, but to try and paint a direction that's going to help us all. That's pretty unique, man. And I think when you do have resources, there's a responsibility to that as well. To answer your question in full, I feel sorry for people that have that position of, you know, they're wealth hoarders and they feel unsettled by money. That takes a deep look inside.
Yeah.
Mate, fucking money's a birthright. It's up there with oxygen, man. And people sit there and go, I can't afford, I can't do that. That's not fair. According to who? Your fucking set of rules? I'm on. You do whatever you like.
Yeah, exactly.
People just don't believe.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really upsets me. It's like, my beliefs are different to yours. You judge me for those, but you're willing to try and pretend that you're going to be some fucking altruistic, perfect human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we all know that ain't true.
Don't pretend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get high and mighty. Don't pretend you're a saint.
Yeah,
You know, like, it's just-
exactly.
I feel sorry for them, to answer your question. And you're right, there's a very big gap. There is a dislocation between where they can be and where they are. And that's sad. And they think the system is going to support them.
Yeah.
That's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love these conversations. Dad, when you die, will I get all your cars? We'll get the boat. We go, no, honey, you don't get any of it. She looked at me funny. We're driving home from school. She's 8. And she goes, but why? I said, sweetheart, my job is not to give you anything, but the knowledge that Dad's learned.
Yeah.
That's it. Honey, if I can package that, you won't need any cars. You won't need Dad's boats. You'll do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you and I should actually saddle our children with the responsibility of wealth and resource. Let them choose. If she wants to be a ballerina, man, I'm in.
Yeah.
If you want to be the greatest artist, honey, the greatest piano player, I'm in. But I don't want to force that on her.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big mistake that so many parents make.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, you take the family heirlooms, you take all the, you take all the assets and you take it to the next level. I don't see the point in that. That's not an individual life.
No.
That's just someone that's sort of like,
Grooming them to do something.
It is. It's a good choice of words, grooming. I feel like it's almost pedophilia on a different scale.
Yeah.
You know, so you're being pushed into a corner that you don't necessarily volunteer for, but it's a responsibility and a burden upon you.
And they might not know anything else. 'Cause
And they don't.
Haven't had the opportunity.
Haven't explored it. Exactly. And that's where I think it comes back to, what do your children want to do? What do they love? What are their passions?
Tell them to go do some travelling first.
Yeah.
Broaden the mind.
Yeah, that sort of stuff, So, no, I have no desire and no intentions of giving her anything. In fact, there was a conversation about wills just this morning.
After that bottle,
Wow.
After the bottle, yeah. After the hangover, he woke up, I need to write my will. This is rocking me around.
I'm getting close to the line. So, I just don't think that's a good idea. So I can't see her getting anything. I might put a few bucks away for her, but it's not going to be
Life changing.
No. If you're divorced, sweetheart, and you have a child, I don't know, but you'll have a little bit. But not going. My job's not here to support you. It's to teach you. It's trying to help you garner enough intelligence and wisdom to be able to, manufacture what you want in life. What is that? What brings you the greatest joy?
Do you think she knows Dad's a little different to every other dad that her friends would have?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I wish you'd appreciate that a bit more. There was a dirt bike trip a couple of weeks ago that I had to literally get a plane and a helicopter and freaking everything to try and get back to her sports day.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled up at 20 past 10. She said, Dad, you're late. I mean, honey, I've been on the road for 5 hours.
you know what I did to just get here?
Plane, helicopter, dirt bike to the fucking airport, and I'm 20 minutes late and you're calling me on it? Like, that just blows my mind. I never saw my dad, right? You probably didn't either. Yeah. I mean, we never saw our parents. You know, they just work non-stop, 7 days a week. That's kind of how it was. But
Is that motivation for you, though?
Yeah.
To be able to be present?
To ride faster.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing for me.
You got kids?
I do. I got 2.
Yeah.
Got a 7-week-old boy and a 2.5-year-old daughter.
Congratulations.
So,
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Your kids are beautiful, man. They bring out the best version of you.
They do.
If I look at anything now, you know, I'm just 46, and I think about, you know, the road ahead and the road that has been, there's probably a lot less bitumen out front than there is behind.
Yep.
And I think to myself, how does it look? You know, what's really worth my attention? What do I really want to do? You know, I've recently sold some enterprises and some businesses, and we've done really, really well. It was a good time to get out. You know, so it is a little bit of sort of trending sideways with the helicopter. It's nothing more than distraction. But if I look at what really lights me up, it's children. That's the next chapter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, I want to get back in the seat and have some more kids, because as a man, I find that is just a beautiful way to share your life. You know, and you'll adorn your children like you will no one else. It's a beautiful, beautiful part.
Just the one daughter at the moment?
Yeah. Yeah, sadly. But I'd have a footy team if I could.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
One of my goals is to have a minivan full of kids, you know?
Yeah.
My goal is
We'll
to
bring it
avoid a
into-
minivan.
Is that because you love the kids, or is you love the way they're made?
Well, a bit of both, actually. Funny you should ask. Yeah, and I think kids they bring out some beautiful elements in all of us.
They change how you think. I think too many people are too quick to give up.
Yeah.
In you know whatever it is,
Oh, yeah.
owning a house if that's a goal. You know, owning the dream car, whatever it is. I think people just go, oh well, it's too hard.
Yeah.
Like I think us entrepreneurs think, how do we get it,
That's
and then
right.
work backwards and make it happen.
So true, man. That's one of the key words we use in organisation is how.
Yeah,
You show me the why, I'll show you the how.
exactly. It's like you said, there's money to be made everywhere. You just got to be.
Man, these are unusual times. These are unprecedented. There is so much opportunity. I mean, it's just bizarre. Doesn't matter what you look at, there's a shortage of everything. A mate of mine went to Bunnings. He goes, there's no door locks in Bunnings.
Yeah.
I said, really? He goes, yeah. I said, fuck, why are we importing shit? Why don't we just get a
Yeah.
direct link? Some dodgy factory out of China and just start bringing stuff in.
Yep.
There's just so much opportunity. It abounds.
Yep.
And people say, oh, I can't get ahead. Really?
Yeah. It's because you're so
Even in, like-
you're here, narrow-minded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And even in like all the support things like expedited freight or, you know, like things like that, like there's it's just so deep.
That's right.
Like there's so many different layers of it,
It's so true, man.
and people could just jump in and hit the ground running. Like,
And not need capital. Like people have this idea that I need to have 5 million in the bank before I can do anything.
Yep.
What a load of nonsense.
I think it's the security, the
Yeah.
feel of being
Yeah.
secure,
Yeah.
and that's the 9 to 5 job feeling. They don't want to, you know, if they had 100 grand, they wouldn't throw 100 grand down
Yeah.
to make
True.
more money.
True, true.
So
Yeah, sure.
I think
It's debilitating, isn't it?
Very.
That mindset, that culture of, you know, I need something to make me feel good.
yeah,
I think after a while you realise that, you know, you don't need a whole lot.
yep.
You just don't. You know,
I think the more money you get, the more you figure that out.
You do.
You know what I mean? Like I'm a big car guy, and I've got the cars that I've wanted, and now I just don't care.
Yes.
If I have it or I don't have it, doesn't matter.
Yes.
As long as my daughter's fine and my family,
Yes.
I'm happy.
Yes. Yes.
Which is weird because I was like probably like you when you were young, just full noise.
Yeah, sounds like it.
How many cars you got though, Andy?
Oh,
You don't even know.
I don't actually know. I tried to. We were trying to count them over dinner last night, and I just stopped. I was like, I better not.
Is that right? You got that many cars?
Ran
you
out of
can't count?
fingers.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Seriously, that many cars? You are a car nut, yeah.
Yeah, proper car nut, and
I went to a car show just recently, and one of my accountants is a bit of a car nut, and he invited me to the Duesenberg Car Club.
wow.
Dude, we're talking about some real, you know, steel, real metal. It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
You know, really old cars and just, yeah, sort of 1929, 1932 sort of stuff.
Yep.
Supercharged back then, 1932, straight V8.
yeah. That's so cool.
It was just an amazing car, like full gangster.
Yep.
You know, huge lamps, rolling running boards, like just
Yeah.
but immaculate, pristine. One of these cars was Concourse, the elegant sort of standard.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
Where was this at?
This was just on the coast.
Yeah, right.
I said, "And what do you reckon that rolls at?" He goes, "Oh, about 1.2." I'm like, "That's a serious car."
Yep.
Did you want it? I said no.
Not really, no.
No, not my thing.
Nice to look at, but
Nice to look at.
yeah. We've got an old girl behind you, or behind the R8
Yeah.
behind you. We've got a 1960 Lincoln.
Yep.
It's a pretty cool car. We
Yeah.
get a bit of use out of that.
Yeah.
Do
You drive around, yeah.
Some
Oh yeah,
cruiser.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We did
Nice.
got it going for Collie Rocks. Went
Oh,
down
yes,
that and
yes.
took the family down during the day, and then at night I picked up all the boys and we went down, got a beer and
Nice.
had a good night in it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
There's a bit of nostalgia in them things, isn't
for sure.
it?
Yeah,
I like it. There's a lot of class.
a lot
Yeah.
of class and a quality built car.
Yeah.
Everything's so different nowadays. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look like a bloke that hits the gym quite a bit, Mark.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do. I enjoy that outlet.
Yeah. Well, how do you think that affects your success mindset?
Oh, definitely, it plays a huge role. I think that if you can conquer yourself, man, you can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
And the gym sort of allows that every single day. It hurts. I'm fucking
Yeah.
sweaty.
Every day.
I'm hurt. I'm tired.
Yeah.
If you can keep sort of challenging that voice, man, you just you're unstoppable. So yeah, I think there's a direct link between those two conversations. I think.
How do you do it? What's the secret sauce there? How do you go to the gym every day?
Oh, just at home, have a PT.
Yeah.
Comes in.
Yeah.
Most mornings generally.
Yeah, right. Yeah, walk through the rain and like
Find a car park.
Primary river.
Little precious, mate.
he's in bed and has the PT shaking him to wake up. It's workout time.
With my vitamins.
With your vitamins in IV.
No, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy, and I don't think you'll ever push yourself as hard as someone else can.
No, definitely.
So
I
there's definitely an
100%
element of that,
agree
man.
there.
And it's funny, like I look at him, and he's trained 2 world champs, natural, hardcore naturalist dude, right?
Yeah.
And
World champion
2 world
bodybuilders or
bodybuilders, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I happen to know one of them, and oddly enough, he'll really stretch you. He'll push you. So to the point where you actually start to get ailments.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's a very important part. I think the mental game, to me, is enhanced by the physical game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's almost the sole reason why I go to the gym.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
to just overcome myself
That's
and be
right.
like, I make the decision. It's not
Absolutely.
you.
Well said. And we can all listen to that voice. But you don't get very far with it.
No.
If you honestly, you can rise above and conquer that voice.
Yeah.
You can do anything, man.
Yeah.
Do anything.
And if you listen to it, you're just sitting on the couch eating McDonald's all the time.
I mean, people listen to that voice.
I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Spit it out, throw it out.
That's right. And people listen to the right voice and they conquer cancer. Stage 4 cancer, man, it's wild, yeah?
Yeah.
So it depends what voice you want to listen to.
Yeah, exactly. Funny story about that. Don't want to hijack the conversation, but my older brother had scoliosis that bad, and they had to do an operation on his back. And after the operation, the doctors and everyone said the operation was a failure.
Right.
He's paralyzed from thoracic spine down.
Whoa.
And all the doctors and everyone said, you need to tell him what's going on, because it's like...
This is your brother?
Yeah. They were like, he needs to know. And my mother is kind of like, she has that same view of like, your mindset is more powerful than anyone ever understands, like times 1,000. And she told all the doctors and everyone, like, no one is allowed to tell him that he can't walk or that he'll never walk again. And she constantly pushed it into him that, like, you just got to practice, you just got to practice, you just got to practice.
Wow, I like it.
And it all came back.
No way.
And it was like in the newspapers, it was like miracle story. Doctors were like, we don't know what happened. We literally drilled a screw into his spinal cord and it just came back.
Wow.
So
you know
like,
what happened? You know what happened.
The mind fixed it.
Mate, that's wild. That's a cool story.
Yeah. Believing it comes.
extraordinary.
Believing and anything's possible, eh?
That's amazing, man. It makes you think, doesn't it? Just what are we capable of? That's amazing. So if you had told him, he wouldn't walk.
Yeah, exactly. You tell people and then the ceiling is there. And it's like, if anyone listening to this, like, you don't have to have a ceiling. There's no ceiling to what anyone can accomplish, and that,
That's cool.
if they believe they
Expectation, man. Expectation. I think when people put themselves in that frame and they have a good crack at commerce or business, as you've seen, Andy, that's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, isn't it? You can do anything. Well, why can't I just go out there and do this, or build a business, and flog it off, for 4 times PE, 12 times PE? Why not? Says who?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's funny you say that, because my teachers always told me I wasn't smart enough to be a pilot.
There you go.
So hopefully they're listening to this.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mrs. Hunt.
Something else then.
I hope her name wasn't Hunt. I just made that up.
But no, she
Interesting, isn't it?
She said that I wasn't smart enough, and I thought, you know what, I'll teach you.
Yeah.
And,
Do you find that negative motivation is sort of one of the key elements of you?
1,000,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when people say it can't be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Watch-
just changes,
watch
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Too much fucking positivity.
Grab
on
another
here.
gear, eh?
I'm just getting too excited. I'm just getting all warm and fuzzy.
We're going to see in the news Mark Rolton launches new business, takes over the world. Like.
Yeah, I think.
Sure. Well, before we wrap things up, Mark,
Yeah.
one more question for you. If you could give your 25-year-old self any advice, what do you reckon it'd be?
Yes. There's a few answers I've got there. I'd probably say that at my 25-year-old self, be more daring.
Cool.
If I was to look over my shoulder at 25, I'd say be more daring. I could have assembled what I'd done in a lot of shorter space of time,
Okay.
but I just didn't have that belief. I just wasn't daring enough.
Mm.
It would have happened. It was
Taking that
inevitable,
risk.
but it could have been done a lot quicker
Yeah.
with less moving parts.
And you think anything the time frame was because of like fear and
Yes.
not being willing
Yes.
to take the risks.
And growing into that person. One of the things I've sort of learned is that, and this sort of parallels well with your question, but one of the things I have learned is it's not so much what have I got to do, who do I got to be? And that's sort of, to me, it's one of those funny, it's one of those funky sort of answers, but it really does. It says, what's the blueprint? Who do I need to be that person? Like, I mean, not long off importing a vessel. It's a sort of 15, 17 million circa vessel, like a proper vessel, You charter it and you get a basically free boat, which I think is kind of cool, right? But I've sort of looked at, I've established, that that's a fair, decent amount of capital going into one spot, and I love boats, I love boating, I love the lifestyle of what it produces. But my first question is, who do I need to be? And I actually know, I know vividly what that person needs to be and what needs to change.
Yeah,
So it's funny how you get a bit more seasoned, a bit more wisdom, a bit more knowledge about you, sort of like, well, it's not about the fucking exercise. The machinations will happen.
Yeah.
Who do I need to be? And then bring that in.
Yeah, so you reverse engineer the personality.
Totally. And I know who that person is.
Yeah.
So maybe we can all adjust and ask ourselves, who do we need to be?
Yeah.
Not what do we need to do?
What are the dot points of the person?
I knew you were going there, man. Nothing's fucking safe around you, is it?
He's writing all the list down. All right.
Mate, I'm glad I'm sitting down.
Yeah, I'm going to write them down. They're on my list too. Because I wouldn't mind a $17 million boat.
Oh, well, it's a, it is. There's some maturity around the business decisions that I make.
Yeah.
There are some changes around who I need to be. And I think financially, it's helping, we've got accountants in-house, out-house and external, whatever, is making them sort of believe and understand how the business model will work.
That it's a good decision, yeah.
It's a totally good decision. And I know it is. So there's a few things got to happen in there,
Yeah, that's a cool way to think of it, actually, because like I often think, all right, I want to do this, or I want to have this income, or I want to have this cash flow from this property, or this or that or that.
Yes.
And I look at the thing,
Yes.
not me,
Yes.
and then look at the thing and then try and fix the thing and
That's
do all the automations and set all the things up, and then it might not work, but the mechanics of it were right, but I didn't level up myself to be the person that was able to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good mindset.
And I think that's, you look at most people would sit in this couch with you guys. They've had to realise who's that person before the opportunity comes about. That selling the business, they're the sort of things you've got to sort of try and understand, contemplate, I think.
Yeah.
Who do I need to be? That changes everything. Because honestly, man, in business and commerce, it's about who you are.
Yeah. Because if the opportunity that you're working on doesn't work out, you've still leveled up your person.
For sure.
And there'll be another opportunity that's
and you'll
similar.
apply it somewhere else. Correct. Yeah.
Spitting fire. Mark Rolton spitting
Getting
fire.
deep.
Jesus.
Yeah.
A bit philosophical, isn't it?
We'll have to quote that one.
That's after cognac. Imagine me prior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn the cameras off. Get the shot glasses out.
Yeah, I had a few Porsches in the early days, an S4 and then the first 911 that I rode off. And then I think I went into a Ferrari. I think it was an F430. Showing my age. And then I got rid of that and I went to buy another Ferrari, but they were a little bit arrogant. So I ended up buying the Lamborghini next door. I bought a Huracan.
Yeah, nice.
And then...
It was red A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that at your place.
Really nice.
I've really been stalking you.
I did say you're not safe around here.
You got a Dodge Ram too.
Dude.
And you ride around on one of those little electric scooters all the time.
Electric
I see
motorbikes.
you.
I bought a little gas 65 for all the
Nice.
neighbours' kids. Man, I spend more time on it than them. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I bought a McLaren. That was probably
That was
long
one.
ago.
I would have seen that one.
That's nice.
You drove that to your event that you did.
Yeah.
Was it blue?
No, it's silver.
Silver,
With
that's
McLaren
right.
orange. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a nice car. And then we've got this one here. And I've probably had that one. What be about 10, 12 weeks? 12 weeks, something like that.
Wow, fresh.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's nice. This is a really nice car. It's a really nice package. They're really fast, and I don't know. I'm not a great driver. I'm not pretending to be, but one of the things I did notice, is a lot of cars have that sort of turbo lag thing going on, and McLaren's notorious for it.
Yep.
It's horrible. Like you can just put your foot down and just sort of brace yourself, and it's coming 2-3 seconds later. They've done something with this where there's just that real mid-tier power. It's always there. And it's quite scary. You can sort of, it's almost like a power band on a dirt bike. It's in there, and it's very, very mid-range. So they've done something pretty special, because it's definitely a different car. It's not the Ferrari I had before, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same in the F8, but I know the 488 is renowned on YouTube for being like it's like a lethal weapon.
Beast.
You look them up on YouTube, and there's so many wipeouts of the 488
Yeah,
because it's got so much power, rear wheel
Yes.
drive, and just hectic.
Yes. I've done a few Lamborghini days, and they put on a really good show. You go to the track, and they put on lunch and what have you, and try and sell you more cars.
Yeah.
But mate, you put and again, not a great driver, but you put a Lamborghini on a track, and that's a really safe car. That's a lot of product in a very small area. Man, it's a lot of car, and you got some sort of U-Butte wannabe supercar driver beside you coaching you, and it's all out. I mean, honestly, man, we were at what's the one out the back at Ipswich?
QR.
Queensland
QR,
Raceway. Yeah.
QR, mate, QR. And that was 300. That was 300.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast.
That's fast.
300. There's nothing left in it. You've only got the distance, I suppose, that is working against you. But, mate, all on the brakes and the back wheels, you can feel it's getting really light. It's frightening. And there's this 20-year-old kid beside you going, yeah, on the gas now, apex, gas. And you're like, dude, we're going on the wall. I'm going to die. He's got
Just
so much
isn't doing
faith in the car and you. I'm like, shit, man, I wouldn't want your job,
Yeah.
It's a good experience. So as far as the track goes, I would say probably the Lambo.
Yep.
And I'd say this, maybe straight line sort of stuff. But being rear-wheel drive, it's a bit tricky, I think. And again, I think it must be my lack of expertise. But I find the Lamborghini far more forgiving. Get a lot more power down without being sort of perfect. And
Yep.
it's a lot of fun, though.
Good to know.